What if I told you that Rory McIlroy just sat down in front of a microphone and casually revealed a plan that could completely reshape the entire calendar of professional golf as we know it? Stick around, because by the end of this video you're going to understand exactly why golf fans and insiders are buzzing about what McIlroy said this week, and why it could change where, when, and how the biggest stars in the sport play for years to come. Picture the scene. It's Tuesday at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta, the pressure cooker home of the Tour Championship, and Rory McIlroy walks into his pre-tournament press conference just hours after PGA Tour Commissioner Brian Rowlap dropped a bombshell of his own. A reimagined Tour Championship built around 2 full weeks of match play, a format shakeup that instantly had the golf world talking. But instead of just reacting to Rowlap's news, McIlroy took the moment and ran with it, pulling back the curtain on his own vision for the future, one that reaches far beyond the PGA Tour and straight into the heart of the tour he calls home, the DP World Tour. Here's the question that should stop you in your tracks. What happens to European golf when the PGA Tour's new schedule leaves a massive 5-month gap on the calendar? McIlroy has the answer, and it's bold. According to McIlroy, if the PGA Tour is set to run from February all the way through August, starting in 2028, that leaves the DP World Tour with roughly 5 open months to completely reinvent itself, and he wants those months used to spotlight international golf in a way it has never been showcased before. Let that sink in for a second. We're not talking about a minor scheduling tweak, we're talking about the DP World Tour potentially becoming the centerpiece of the golf calendar for nearly half the year, hosting some of the biggest international events the sport has ever seen, free from competing head-to-head with the PGA Tour's biggest weeks. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. McIlroy specifically pointed toward the Tour's season finale, suggesting that because the PGA Tour won't kick off until February in 2028, the DP World Tour could push its final events into January instead, giving players the chance to travel to destinations like the Middle East, or potentially other international hubs, to close out one season and immediately prepare for the next championship series without any awkward downtime in between. Doesn't that sound like exactly the kind of seamless, globe-trotting golf calendar fans have been asking for? Now, before you assume this is just McIlroy throwing out random ideas, remember who we're talking about here. This is a 5-time major champion, a 7-time Race to Dubai winner, the first European in history to complete the career Grand Slam, and a player who now has an entire award named in his honor on the DP World Tour, a trophy future generations of players will chase for years to come. When someone with that level of influence and that much skin in the game starts talking about reshaping the sport's global calendar, you listen. And here's an interesting wrinkle to this whole story. McIlroy openly admitted he's no longer involved in any official PGA Tour player committees, yet he still isn't shy about speaking his mind on where professional golf should be heading next, which honestly says a lot about how much he still cares about the direction of the sport, even without an official seat at the table. He also revealed he has a strong working relationship with Rowlap, who has now been in his role for just over a year, hinting that these conversations about the future of the schedule aren't happening in isolation. They're part of a much bigger ongoing dialogue between the sport's biggest stars and its top decision-makers. So here's the real question fans are asking right now. Is this the beginning of golf finally solving its scheduling headache, the one that's frustrated players and fans for years, with too many big events colliding and too many gaps where nothing exciting happens at all? Could McIlroy's vision finally give the DP World Tour room to breathe, room to shine, room to host marquee events without constantly living in the shadow of the PGA Tour's biggest weeks? And selfishly, let's not ignore the obvious detail here. McIlroy himself plays a heavily international schedule, teeing it up everywhere from Dubai to India to Ireland, so a restructured calendar that gives the DP World Tour more room to shine isn't just good for the sport, it directly benefits one of the most influential players pushing for the change. Is that a conflict? Or is that exactly the kind of insider perspective the sport needs to actually fix its scheduling problems? That's for you to decide. And here's where this story gets even more emotional, because you cannot talk about the future of golf, the legacy of the game, or Rory McIlroy's vision for what comes next without bringing up the name that towers over the entire sport, Tiger Woods. These two aren't just rivals from different eras, they're genuine friends, and 2026 has been one of the most turbulent, heartbreaking years of Woods' career, a year where the 15-time major champion missed all four men's majors for the second straight season, battling back and Achilles injuries, before a devastating March car crash and DUI arrest sent shockwaves through the golf world and forced him into months of intensive rehabilitation in Switzerland. Think about that contrast for a second. While McIlroy was busy completing the career Grand Slam at Augusta, becoming the first European in history to do it, capturing his fifth major title after an 11-year wait, his close friend and the man who inspired an entire generation to pick up a golf club was thousands of miles away, quietly fighting battles that had nothing to do with birdies or bogeys. And yet, even through everything, the bond between them never wavered. Reports have revealed that Woods stayed connected to the game and to the people in it, even during his darkest stretch away from competition, and sources close to him confirmed that he watched his friend Rory McIlroy complete that historic Masters victory from wherever he was in his recovery, a small but powerful detail that shows just how much these two respect each other, regardless of who's holding the trophy that week. Doesn't that hit different when you think about it? One legend cheering on another from the shadows, even while working through the hardest chapter of his own life. So when McIlroy stands up at a press conference and talks about reshaping the future of golf, expanding the DP World Tour, building a calendar that spotlights international competition in ways it never has before, you have to ask yourself, is he also building toward a version of the sport that Tiger Woods himself might eventually step back into, whether competitively or as an elder statesman shaping its direction? Woods, after all, turned 50 at the end of 2025, making him eligible for the PGA Tour Champions for the very first time, opening up an entirely new chapter of his career, even as questions swirl about whether he'll ever compete at the majors again, with insiders now suggesting his true return to competitive golf may not happen until the end of 2026 at the earliest, and a genuine major championship run pushed all the way to 2027. Here's a question worth sitting with. What does it mean for the next generation of golf when the two most influential figures in the sport, one still active and dominant, one fighting to reclaim his body and his career, are both quietly shaping conversations about where the game goes next? McIlroy has already made his mark on that future, with an award bearing his own name on the DP World Tour, a trophy players will chase for generations, and now he's pushing to reshape the actual calendar those future stars will play on. Meanwhile, Woods, even in the middle of rehabilitation, continues to send encouragement to players across the sport, a reminder that his influence on golf was never just about his own trophies, it was about the culture, the standard, and the fire he lit in players like McIlroy, who grew up idolizing him. So as the DP World Tour potentially heads toward a bold new international era, and as Tiger Woods continues fighting his way back from the toughest stretch of his life, one thing becomes crystal clear. The future of golf is being written right now, by the players who built its past and the ones determined to shape what comes next. What we do know is this: change is coming to professional golf's calendar. 2028 is shaping up to be a pivotal year, and Rory McIlroy just planted his flag firmly in the middle of the conversation, choosing to speak up not as a bystander, but as one of the sport's most respected voices shaping where it goes next. So here's what I want you to do right now. If this story genuinely surprised you, if you had no idea this conversation was even happening behind the scenes, smash that like button immediately, because it helps this video reach more golf fans who need to know where the sport is heading. Drop a comment below and tell me straight up, do you think McIlroy's vision for the DP World Tour is exactly what international golf needs? Or is this all just talk until we see it actually happen? And if you want to stay ahead of every major shakeup in professional golf before anyone else is talking about it, make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell right now, because this scheduling story is far from over, and trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next.